Good afternoon, and welcome once again to Shelf Life. This week we are presenting the premiere of a new radio theater series developed and produced by the Simon Studio, currently celebrating its 15th anniversary in New York City, and Westfest Productions. And for this series, we are featuring this week some of our most talented new writers. Today we present a new work by Lewis Phillips titled The Man Who Ate Einstein's Brain. Our writer Lewis Phillips has written numerous plays, including Last of the Marx Brother Writers, The Ballroom in St. Patrick's Cathedral, and The Envoy Messages, published by Broadway Play Publishers. His one-act plays have appeared in Best Short Plays of '87, the Georgia Review, the Massachusetts Review, Crazy Quilt, and many other publications, and his play Caravan was produced by the Simon Studio for both the previous Samuel French One-Act Festival and as part of their Lincoln Center Library for the Performing Arts series. Our cast today: Miss Nancy Sirianni, Mr. Robert Gregory, and Roger Hendrick Simon. The Man Who Ate Einstein's Brain by Lewis Phillips. Join us now, everyone, as we enter the laboratory of the famed brain surgeon, Dr. Kilgariff Moran.
Ah, Sam. Looking at photos of Elise and Dr. Kinsey at work, I see.
Just taking my lunch break, Dr. Moran.
Try turning the picture the other way.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yes. Well, clear away your lunch. I have work to do.
Sorry, Dr. Moran. I just will.
That's all right. Sam, you can stay.
Okay.
My God.
Anything wrong, Doctor?
This bottle is empty. This bottle, which was supposed to be kept under lock and key at all times, is standing out in the open. Did one of my assistants put the contents in the refrigerator? Let me see. No, just the usual. Beer, dead sheep, and otter droppings. Goldberg, sound the alarm. Someone has stolen Einstein's brain.
Someone has stolen Einstein's brain? Sound the alarm! Sound the alarm!
I'm sorry. Sam, I'm sorry. Don't sound the alarm. If word of this loss gets out, we're ruined. A lifetime of research down the drain. No one will trust this lab to preserve its scientific treasures again. We should become known only as the dead sheep capital of neural research. Not a word of this to anyone, Goldberg, or this lab will become the laughing stock of the scientific community. If we dare call such an enclave of money-grubbing, servile, backstabbing, envious seekers after personal glory a community.
Oh, I won't tell a soul.
I should become known as the Butterfingers of neurosurgery, the man who let Einstein's brain slip through his fingers.
Oh, I wouldn't put it that way, Doctor.
Look at me. I'm just coming from surgery. Hours spent trying to cram a filigree of taste into the skull of a rock musician. My hands are shaking. I thought I would relax by retreating here for a few hours of close scrutiny of Einstein's brain cells, dance once more around the block with the endoplasmic reticula. But look, the bottle is empty.
Oh.
Why were Einstein's brains treated so cavalierly? Of course, what could be expected of a lab that keeps its beer in the same refrigerator as otter droppings?
Yeah, pardon me, Dr. Moran, but why would Einstein's brains be kept in a bottle?
And where would you keep the brains of the greatest genius of the 20th century? In a postcard album?
No.
Dangle them over the dashboard of a car?
No.
According to the dictates of Einstein's will, moments after Einstein's death, my colleagues and I will give him permission to cut open Einstein's skull, remove his brain, and preserve it for study. This my miserable colleagues and I did. Each year, one of us would have exclusive domain over the greatest scientific property of our time, and this year is my year. My year. It might as well have been the year of the bubonic plague. Oh, this is terrible. This is the worst thing that's ever happened to my laboratory since it opened nearly 19 years ago. Dr. Moran's delicatessen and brain surgery. Oh, listen to me, I'm babbling. What will happen to my research grant now, I ask you? It's sabotage, I tell you. Deliberate sabotage. Dr. Kinsey did this.
Yeah?
Kinsey's always been jealous of my work. Was Dr. Kinsey in here today?
I thought Dr. Kinsey was conducting sex research.
Well, yes, Kinsey's into sex, who isn't? But secretly he wanted to play around with another organ, the human brain, the greatest sex organ of them all, filled moment by moment, minute by minute with dirty and filthy thoughts. And who would have the dirtiest thoughts of them all? Why, Einstein's brain, of course. That's it. Kinsey made off with a brain to further his research into sexual fantasies.
Oh, I don't think so, Doctor.
Well, of course you don't think so, Sam. You've been a widower for nearly a decade. You've forgotten these things. But Kinsey's out there. His telescope is trained on every bedroom window in this fair land. And for that he gets paid, while my career languishes in the backwaters of grantsmanship. I deserve a break.
I meant Einstein's brain.
Sam, I can tell by the way you're leaning on your broom that you know more than you're letting on. Now tell me before I go mad.
Yeah, I think I ate it.
What?
God forgive me, Dr. Moran, but I think I ate Einstein's brain.
You think you ate Einstein's brain? Well, that's all right, if you just think you did. I mean, thinking and doing are not the same thing. Only a high-strung theologian would say otherwise.
Actually, I know I did. I ate the brain for lunch.
I don't want to know.
Yeah, you see the little gray matter floating in the bowl? I thought...
Don't tell me.
I thought you wanted to know.
I did want to know, but I didn't want to know that. I wanted to know something else entirely, actually.
Oh, well, it tasted like chicken.
Einstein's brain tasted like chicken.
Yeah.
Is there no justice? Einstein's brain should have tasted like pickled pheasant or truffles on brochette.
Well, I'm a simple man with simple taste, sir.
Now I know you're jesting. Brains are not kosher, Goldberg. If lobsters are out of bounds, think how God feels about digging into human skulls for lunchtime snacks, sir.
Yeah, well, it was an accident.
The creation of the universe was an accident. All else follows logically.
Yeah, well, I thought it was a matzo ball.
A matzo ball?
A very large and soggy matzo ball.
A matzo ball?
Well, I admit it didn't taste like a matzo ball.
Well, of course not. The brain, after all, had been preserved in formaldehyde. I can't imagine what it tasted like.
You try it. Here. See what it tastes like to you. Let me
My
stir
God.
it around for you. Here.
That looks like human brain tissue floating in there. What's that yellow stuff?
I told you. It didn't taste right, so I added a can of chicken soup to it.
No wonder the brain tasted like chicken.
Ah, that makes sense now that I think of it.
Science thrives on simple explanations, the most elegant of solutions to complex problems. You idiot! You! I'm going to kill you!
You're choking me.
You and your craving for lunch have ruined the greatest scientific experiment of the 20th century.
Please, Doctor, I can't breathe.
I can't breathe either. And after what you've done, the whole civilized world won't be able to breathe. Everything is ruined. I'm going to kill you.
Dr. Moran! Stop it! What are you doing?
Dr. Steiner, let me go. Why is it that everybody who enters into this laboratory is always asking me what I'm doing? Can't I keep a few secrets to myself?
You were trying to choke Sam. If I hadn't entered the room when I had, poor Sam would be dead.
Oh, nonsense. I was merely conducting a simple basic scientific experiment.
Wasser.
I wanted to see if air cut off from the brain of a human would cause any significant damage to a common criminal.
What are you talking about? Sam has been working here for 20 years. He's no criminal.
Yeah, I'm a genius, actually. I'm beginning to experience deep insights into theoretical physics.
What are you talking about, Sam? You don't know anything about theoretical physics.
Well, you see, there's a simple theory of relativity, and then there's the more complex theory of relativity. Let's use the analogy of riding on a train that's going faster than the speed of light.
Will someone please tell me what's going on?
Go ahead, Sam. Tell her.
Beim Mittagessen habe ich das Gehirn Einsteins gefressen.
What did he say?
Well, he said that by mistake he ate Einstein's brain for lunch. Sam, I didn't know you spoke German.
Leider noch nicht.
But you're speaking to us in German now.
I am?
Don't you believe it, Dr. Steiner. Just as all strange meats taste like chicken, all strange tongues sound like German.
Oh, habe ich mein Geige belagt?
But, Sam, you don't play the violin. Dr. Moran, won't you please explain?
Well, very well. Our friend here, craving a hot lunch, ate Einstein's brain, thinking it was a large matzo ball. Don't ask me for any more explanations, because frankly I don't have any. I find it astonishing I've gotten this far.
You're crazy, both of you.
Well, that may be, but one of us is crazy with another man's brain floating in his belly.
I see that the bottle that held Einstein's brain is empty.
What did you expect? Sam, stop it. Stop it. Sam, you don't know how to play the violin.
Dr. Moran, what have you done with Einstein's brain? It was supposed to be in this bottle, and the bottle is supposed to be kept under lock and key at all times.
Well, each time we open a laboratory door, we're entering a new sphere of discovery. It's like reading another man's diary. We may also say the same thing about opening refrigerator doors. Opening doors is the metaphor for what some of us do here.
Nothing in the logbook. No one has signed it out.
Well, as you can see, the last person to sign anything out was Dr. Kinsey. He signed out Elise, our 21-year-old graduate assistant. Opening bedroom doors is a metaphor for what some others of us do.
Albert and Elise. I can't stand the thought of it. I shall kill her.
Please, Dr. Steiner. Jealousy has no place in the sciences, with the possible exception of biology, but then any science that bases its reputation upon the dissection of frogs can only come to a bad end. But, as you see, no one has signed out Einstein's brain.
Well, are you telling me that someone has removed Einstein's brain from our lab without permission?
Not exactly.
What do you mean, not exactly?
Well, I mean that language is so abstract that it's extremely difficult to say anything exactly with it. Yes, that's exactly what I meant to say, in an inexact manner, of course. At least, that is what I think I wanted to say, at least until I can get a handle on this situation.
Well, Dr. Moran, you're babbling.
Well, that's exactly the problem with language, isn't it? As soon as a person steps out into the deep end of the linguistic pool, what appears to be shallowness sets in.
Whoa, chilla.
Now Sam is speaking Chinese.
Don't pay any attention to him. He's just showing off.
He said he ate it.
For the sake of our experiment, Sam, let's stick to German. It's academically acceptable, and we don't have to transliterate.
Yeah.
Do you have any aspirin?
There used to be a bottle behind the dead sheep in the refrigerator.
Je l'ai mangé.
Dr. Steiner, I suggest you sit down, and I'll tell you exactly what happened. I got tired of all the piddling, plodding little experiments that were being conducted on Einstein's brain, and so, taking the world upon my shoulders, I took the great plunge. I fed Einstein's brain to an ordinary janitor, and look at the results. The man now thinks, with that additional brain, I've created a new genius. Now, take notes. We'll write this up for Cell magazine.
Sam, you didn't really eat Einstein's brain, did you?
Ja. Ich habe das Gehirn Einsteins gefressen.
Mad. Both of you are mad.
Keep calm, Dr. Steiner. Do you remember conducting experiments on earthworms?
Yes, why?
Well, do you remember the experiment where you teach an earthworm to crawl through a maze, and then you cut up its body into tiny, teeny little pieces, and you feed those other pieces to the other earthworms, and those newly fed earthworms can navigate the same maze without ever having seen it before? Well, I merely turned that experiment up a notch. 2 or 3 notches, actually.
You cut up Einstein's brain and fed them to a janitor?
If I may interrupt. Bitte, ich habe ich doch nicht.
Silence, you Hun. Go back to your violin playing.
Mir steigen Gläschungen auf vor meinen gesteigen Augen. Ich mag sie niederschreiben.
What did he say now?
He says he sees equations floating in front of his eyes and he wants to write them down.
Quick. Don't just stand there. Quick. Pencil, paper, notebook, ink, erasers, typewriter ribbon.
What's he going to do with the typewriter ribbon?
I don't know. He's the genius. Let him figure it out. Sam, sit at my desk.
Yeah.
This is all too extraordinary to believe.
It's up to us, working together to make it believable. We'll write this up for the journals and then stand back to watch the grant money flow in. We'll be up to our hips in filthy lucre. Think of all the good work we'll be able to do.
I don't think it's a good idea to rush into print with this experiment, do you?
Rush? What's the rush?
Well, how long have you been working on it? It couldn't be very long.
Oh, 20 years.
Well, that's impossible. Einstein's brain was in the bottle yesterday. I saw it myself.
Time is relative, my dear. It moves faster for me than it does for you. That's why men and women have such problems with sex. Besides, it's not the length of time, you know that. It's the truth of the insight. One day you're sitting under an apple tree, and the next thing you know, a dead sheep drops off a limb, and voila, gravity. Now, the way I see it, the next thing we do is we cut up Goldberg's brain here, and we feed it to others, and so on, and so on, and soon we'll have a whole world of persons with Einstein's capabilities.
Cell magazine may not take kindly to publishing an experiment that requires participants to become cannibals.
Very well, we'll try for Playboy first.
What's this small gray stuff? May I see what Einstein's brain tastes like?
Those were the auto droppings, my dear. You ate from the wrong bowl.
Oh, I'm going to be sick.
Experimental science, like minimalist painting, is not squeamish.
Ich hatte selbst auf grillenhafte Stunden doch selten Triebe, hab ich noch nie empfunden.
What's he saying now?
Well, I believe he's reciting Goethe.
That's not going to help. Concentrate, Sam. Now, let me think. A few bites of Einstein's brain, and our hard-working janitor... No, we'd better use the word laboratory custodian. It sounds better. The laboratory custodian began reciting German poetry, playing the violin, and writing down mathematical equations, all activities for which he evinced no prior interest or talent.
You can't, by any stretch of the imagination, call Sam's scratchings with a bow and fiddle playing the violin.
Well, obviously you know nothing about contemporary music.
Das ist die Welt.
Quiet, Crowdhead. Can't you see I'm trying to work on my breakthrough paper? 3 hours after digesting Einstein's brain, Jeremiah Samuel Goldberg began to work on a series of equations which would eventually lead us to a unified view of the universe.
But that's not true.
Huh?
Look what he's written. 12 plus 12 equals 25.
Ja.
2 plus 7 equals 18.
Uh-huh.
4 times 5 plus 2. Well, he's blotted the last answer out.
Oh, Sam. I'm so disappointed in you. You could do so much better. All right. We'll make up some equations for him. We'll lift some equations from Einstein's early work and say that Sam spontaneously came up with them on his own. Well, both of us, you will have to practice Sam's handwriting.
Fake the evidence?
Well, quit looking so shocked. Well, some scientists view experimental science in one way and some scientists in another. Making the facts up. What could be more experimental than that? Besides, it should be obvious to you what Sam had wanted to do. The great equations are simply locked upstairs in his head. It's up to us to unlock them.
You can't see what's going on in his head.
Well, I'm the world's foremost authority on the human brain. Who are they going to believe, me or some baggy-pants laboratory custodian?
Oh, can I go to the bathroom, please?
What? And eliminate Einstein's brains from your system? No, absolutely not. Sit down and think of something else.
Oh, you mean I can never go to the bathroom again?
Sam, your thoughts must remain on a much higher plane from now on.
Surely, Dr. Moran, you can't be that inhuman.
What does being human have to do with being scientific? What do you expect? You want groundbreaking scientific papers splattered with human tears? Romantics are very good for greeting cards, but they aren't of very much use in an operating room.
Even classicists must attend to their bodily functions.
At last, an experiment you can do.
I have my rights. I believe it's in my union contract.
Very well, very well. Take these plastic containers with you. And when you're done, place them in the bag and place everything in the freezer in Lab B. We can't take a chance on losing even a precious ounce of genius.
Yeah.
Genius is something that our century has very little of. Unless one, of course, believes Hollywood press agents.
Oh, thank you, Doctor. I can't tell you how grateful I am.
Oh, hurry back, Sam. We have important work to do.
Yeah, very well. Yeah, but I don't see how you can blame me. It's not my fault that God creates human brains that look like matzo balls.
Now, let's begin work on our paper.
Your paper, not mine.
It was a dark and stormy night.
I want no part of it.
Oh, of course. I was merely trying to further the career of a younger and more attractive colleague. Forgive me for being overly generous.
It seems to me that your work, lacking appropriate controls, is going to be fraught with error.
Well, what can a few errors matter? Others will eventually correct them.
Thank God you don't write cookbooks.
We experiment, we make mistakes, and others correct our mistakes. It's a hobby to keep scientists off the street at night. The great thing about today's experiment is that it can never be repeated again. Einstein's brain can be eaten just once. And so no snot-nosed, driveling graduate student hell-bent on tenure can call anything that I say into question. I merely need you to be a witness to the extraordinary events that have happened here today.
An old man making mistakes in arithmetic is not extraordinary.
Well, of course not. It's just another failure of the American education system. But you're not going to deny that Sam began to speak German. Now, how do you explain that?
Well, I can't. But we have to run a lot more tests.
Tests? Tests are for undergraduates, to separate the sheep from the goats. And if you look in the refrigerator, you can see where the sheep end up. For an experiment to succeed, we advanced scientists know that one must start with the conclusion first and then work our way backward. It saves a lot of time. That's how real scientists work. Generals in the battlefield have all the time they need for trial and error, but science is in a constant race against time. Look at me, Dr. Steiner. I'm an old man. All I have left are a few months, weeks, days, hours. And with the human digestive tract being what it is, who knows how quickly this moment will pass. It's slipping away from me even as I speak.
What do you expect me to do?
I expect you to corroborate the following facts. Our laboratory custodian was given the brain of Einstein to eat. After eating that brain, he began to speak a language he'd never spoken before, and, we should also note for the National Endowment for the Arts, he began to play the violin, an instrument for which he previously displayed no affinity.
I'm willing to say he spoke a few sentences in German, but the rest is not true.
Well, it could have been true.
Well, it could have been true that the sun rises in the west and sets in the east, but that doesn't work out either.
Well, perhaps if you viewed the Earth from another planet, a possibility that could, with my connections, be arranged.
For the moment, I am on this planet, and I'm not going to testify to untrue events.
You would feel very differently if you'd spent more time going to the theater.
There are lots of things I should have done, but at least I know right from wrong.
How fortunate for you to be so clear-headed. But what you view today is more complex than you can possibly understand. You will second my observations, or you will never work in any laboratory again. Remember, Dr. Steiner, you need my recommendation. And without my good word, you'll be lucky to get a job sewing buttons on lab coats.
Are you threatening me?
The reputation of this lab is more important than either of us.
What does the truth care about reputation?
It cares more than you think. It's the reputation that gets the truth around, published in the right places, read by the right people. Besides, Dr. Steiner, you talk about the truth as if you owned it. But the truth is in some cases is a judgment call, depending upon persons in high places. Science is half curiosity and half country club, and you are not a member yet. Who's going to believe some young Ph.D. with no reputation? No one who matters.
If you publish your article, I shall publish a rejoinder.
Reputable journals won't listen. Anything you write will be referred to my friends, who will judge whether your ranting should be published or not. It's not difficult to know whose side they'll take.
I'll write to my senator.
Oh, whistleblowers are despised by one and all. You'll merely be regarded throughout the scientific community as a disgruntled, paranoid lab assistant on the make. You're in love with a scientist who works in this lab, and he does not return your affections. Everything you say and do will be viewed in the murky light of personal and professional jealousy.
I can't believe you are talking to me like this. I have always respected you, looked up to you. That's why I came to this lab.
Oh, please. Everyone knows the only reason you came to this lab is because Albert Kinsey keeps his dead sheep here.
Not true! Besides, Albert cares far more for Elise than he does for me.
Sex first, brain research second. In the history of the human race, it has always been so.
I came to this lab because I wanted to add to the sum total of human knowledge.
Well, of course. I was an idealist once myself. But you only have to think about yourself. I have the whole future of this lab, all its workers, including Goldberg, whose families depend upon me. The disappearance of Einstein's brain will put us all out of work unless we have significant results to show for it. A few words from Goethe will not be enough. So we must fudge some equations, copy out a few learned letters, add a few miscellaneous facts to flesh out the report, and voila! A deluge of grants from the National Science Foundation.
I'm back.
Out, schnitzelface.
Oh, sorry.
Wait, Sam. Are the containers in the freezer in Lab B?
Yeah.
Good. Then kindly bring me back 2 meat cleavers.
2 meat cleavers?
Yes. Borrow them from Kinsey's lab, and let me know if Elise is working in there, will you?
Yeah, Doctor. I'll be right back. 2 meat cleavers?
What are you going to do with the meat cleavers?
Agnes, I've been thinking.
Oh, I should hope so.
Agnes, in consideration of your loyalty to the lab, I'm willing to give you something very precious in return.
What?
Your rival's head on a silver platter?
My rival's head?
Let's put 2 and 2 together. To continue our, notice I did say our, research into the effects of eating human brains, we'll next cut up a living brain and feed it to Sam. And then notice I did say we, shall take very careful notes about what changes Sam undergoes.
Oh, I take it this living brain is going to come from Elise.
Why not? One less sex researcher and the whole civilized world can breathe a little easier. And you yourself shall have Dr. Kinsey to yourself. Winter is approaching. Long night.
I doubt if we could learn much from cutting up Elise's brain.
That's the spirit. Now, consider this, Agnes. Elise speaks Hawaiian and Italian. She's a gourmet cook and, she is astounding in bed.
Well, how do you know that, Doctor?
Oh, a lucky guess. Now, if after eating Elise's brain, Sam shows the slightest ability to speak Hawaiian and roast a suckling pig over an open pit, then we'll have more evidence for our hypothesis. Now, isn't that what you want? Less Elise and more evidence?
Evidence, but at what cost?
More productive than being out of work and walking the streets. Think about having Albert all to yourself.
Here are the 2 meat cleavers you requested, Doctor.
Thank you, Sam. Here you go, Agnes. Take this meat cleaver. It seems to be the sharper of the two.
Thank you.
Tell me, Sam, did you see Elise?
Oh, yeah, she was trying to feed a white mouse to a boa constrictor.
Oh, yes, an exotic prenuptial ritual that prepares men and women for marriage.
Yeah.
Sam, please go to Lab B and ask Elise to come in here right away, and then stay there until I call for you.
Oh, yeah. Doctor.
Well, Agnes, let's get ready. And now, you stand on that side of the door, and I'll stand on this side. And when Elise comes through that door, aim for the neck. Above all else, don't harm the brain. We're going to have to remove it as soon as she hits the floor.
But suppose Sam doesn't want to eat another human brain.
Brains are like potato chips. You can't eat just one. The main thing is to be brave, be daring, be innovative. Where would the law of gravity be today if Newton hadn't stretched the evidence a bit?
But gravity works.
Only because it received a lot of support from high places.
Dr. Moran, you wanted to see me?
Yes, Elise. Won't you come in? Dr. Kinsey wants you to do something with the dead sheep.
Did you say dead sheep?
Yes, I did, Elise. Come in, Elise. Come in.
You've been listening to the Simon Studio production of Lewis Phillips' The Man Who Ate Einstein's Brain. Our cast for this particular production included Nancy Sirianni, Robert Gregory, and Roger Hendrick Simon. It was directed by Stephen Bloom, produced by Roger Hendrick Simon for the Simon Studio, Off Our Rockers and Westfest Productions. Our engineer was Claude Horvath. Our associate producer, Mildred Purdy. Sound effects by Jeffrey Ward. This particular play, The Man Who Ate Einstein's Brain, was recently developed and produced by the Simon Studio and Nancy Sirianni's Off Our Rockers Comedy Productions for Robert's Restaurant, which is currently part of a repertory of plays at Robert's Restaurant every Sunday brunch time theater. The play also won the Samuel French One-Act Festival Award and then is playing at Robert's along with a number of other plays. We invite you to come to Robert's every Sunday for brunch and theater beginning at 12 noon and lasting until 2:30. Robert's is at 736 10th Avenue. We thank you all for being part of what we've done this week, which is to premiere this new radio series. We hope you'll join us again for more Simon Studio Radio Theater in the future. Until then, so long, everybody.